Everybody, thank you so much for coming today to the Leadership Traits Training. And I'm Kathy Welsh, and I know all of you, so we don't have to introduce each other. But I want to remind you to please turn off your cell phone. We're only going to be here for 30 minutes. I think you can handle it. And or at least just turn them down if you have an emergency. That's fine. I understand. But today we're going to talk about personality traits and leadership. The definition of personality is up there for you, just to let you know. A combination of traits distinguishing personal characteristics that classifies an individual's behavior. And we're going to be talking about that as it pertains to leadership. And before we get started, I'm going to ask everybody to stand up in place and stand up. Look, I want to scroll down. I can't get to scroll down. Can you get that to scroll down to my next screen for me? Thank you. We'll get to page 2. There we go. Okay. So, we're just going to do a little exercise to warm up your blood. So, I want everybody to take a step to the right. You got it right?
Kind of cramped in here.
Take a step to your left. Now, give me your best belly laugh. So lame. Regina, you're not participating. Now give me your best cry. Okay, sit down. Now my purpose for doing that is when you leave this training and anyone asks you what happened in there, you will be able to tell them, what, does anybody know?
I belly laughed and cried.
That she made me laugh, she made me cry, and she even moved me a little. Okay, so to the training. So prior to this training, I asked the participants here to complete a self-assessment. It's titled the Big 5 Personality Profile. And a little bit, we're going to conduct a small group discussion. I wanted to ask you, though, how was it taking the assessment?
It was worded wrong.
We can tell her personality already. Yeah. Well, speaking of who worded this, this dates back a while. Talk about history of personality theory. From Freud's psychoanalytic theory to Albert Bandura's observation that people can learn even without performing an action. They learn through modeling. So personality theorists over the centuries have perfected their own brand. The trait theory of leadership became well known when Hans Eysenck used personality as a predictor and he started measuring it. And so we can now use those tools and see how we can be effective in the workplace and what your goals are. So the Big 5 personality traits, before we get to that, you had a question. You said that they were worded wrong.
I do.
So I know they really threw us off by putting like two-parters. That just throws me off. I'm like, wait, if they wouldn't have added that, I would have been way up there. But I ended up having to go middle of the road. But you'll see as we define these Big 5 where you lie and how it works out just fine. Now, we're gonna pair off into little groups in a little bit, and y'all can discuss among yourselves, if you want to share what numbers, and maybe if you know each other well enough, you can say, no, I think you're a little too hard on yourself with that, or no, you probably need to change that number. If you know each other well enough. Some of you do. So, but if not, you certainly don't have to reveal. But our goal here is to obviously identify our strengths and our weaknesses, right? And so understanding people's personalities It's important because personality affects behavior as well as perceptions and attitudes. And as the assessment stated, there are no right or wrong answers. Remember, we can change our behavior to be more effective. So our big 5 personality traits are some words that you probably never heard, but hopefully we're going to learn what they are, what they mean, how do they pertain to leadership, what are my personal strengths and weaknesses, and can my personality change?
I have a question.
Yes,
Are
ma'am.
you able to move this over to the other screen?
You can come sit on this side if you want.
Or we can go down. So
Oh,
so you
yeah,
come
yeah,
around,
because I
let's
can't
just
go
this
way
way.
much.
Thank
Okay,
you so much. Take a little sip.
Of course, we took Isaiah's seat away now.
All right, Mary, do you mind doing my thing for me?
Maybe I should brought my glasses.
Are you working with this camera, Kathy?
Not right now.
Not 4?
Oh, 3.
All right, so we went through that. We went through the questions. This is a website, the ipip.ori.org, and that's where I got this assessment from. And there's a million others there. If you're ever interested, it's on your piece of paper as well that you're going to take with you. So yeah, move on. Okay, so the big 5 were surgency, agreeableness, adjustment, conscientiousness, and openness to experiences. So I know some of y'all had some questions as to what some of these words meant. And it's good that you don't know them all, because then you can look and cheat and say, oh, I want to be high in that, so I'm going to say this. Not that you would ever do that. Oh.
We got my MBA somehow.
All right, and the next slide. It's going to explain a little bit about each one of them, but then we're going to go into detail. So, surgency, for the most part, these are the traits of someone that is high in surgency. Okay, so you're going to probably glance at your paper and say, oh my gosh, is this me? But we're going to talk about the highs and we're going to talk about the lows for each one of them. Okay, but we'll see how it pertains to leadership and what your goals are for leadership. So,
Sorry.
dominance, high energy, determination. That defines the surgency. Agreeableness is sociability, sensitivity, emotional intelligence. Adjustment is narcissism and self-confidence. Is this surprising so far?
Uh-oh.
Conscientiousness is dependability, integrity, conscientiousness. Well, gee, that's what it is. Self-explanatory. That's me, of course. Openness to experience, flexibility, Gumby, intelligence, and internal locus of control. And we'll talk about what in the world does that mean in a little bit.
Yes.
All right, so the next one. So the highest correlation with leadership was surgency, followed by conscientiousness, then openness to experiences. Agreeableness was weakly correlated, and adjustment was negatively correlated with leadership. Does that surprise you? So if you're high in adjustment, that is negatively correlated with leadership.
Really?
So if you find yourself high in those, we're going to go into more detail of what adjustment is in a little bit. But if you find yourself high in that and your goal is to be a leader, then you need to work on changing that.
I don't know. I think you need
I think the adjustment needs to work with my personality.
Mary,
Well,
what are your numbers?
So there are things to practice to raise your score. Okay, so if you want to put on your paper the number here, surgency, number 1, you know, maybe below it and circle it or something. Number 2, conscientiousness. 3, openness to experiences. Did they have them in order at all? No.
No. So we got.
So good, it fooled you. Number 4, agreeableness. So we're getting away from leadership traits
Conscience.
as we go down, right? We're getting away from them. And then number 5, adjustment. Okay, so let's talk in detail about surgency. Next screen for me. Thank you. Surgency, that's extrovert, right? Extroversion. They tend to be affectionate, jovial, talkative, joiners, fun-loving. So congratulations if you scored high in Surgency. You are a born leader. Everyone's looking at the finger. I'm
Is
not going to
like
ask you to
a 6
reveal
a
your
high
numbers. So when I say high score, when you added it all up and then you circled that number on this scale
Oh, I did
right
not do
here,
that.
was it high or was it low?
Lots of follow through.
As you can see, this is mine. So
Higher,
I'm getting
low,
there.
Round up or
like in
down?
what scale?
I rounded
The
up.
scale is next to it.
Obviously, if it was a 34,
Oh,
I rounded it up to 35.
Oh,
Why?
Because it's closer to 35 than the number below it.
I see. Okay.
Ooh, they're changing their scores as we talk.
Well, I didn't answer one question.
Uh-oh.
So,
Get after it. You got a pen?
no, I didn't. It doesn't deserve an answer.
Oh, it doesn't.
I am
well,
considered
that
to
might
be
skew your
trustworthy because
score.
I do a good job. I do a good job because I follow through.
So then 7 it is. You don't want to not put that on there because it'll mess up your scale. So I thought I had a pen. Somebody let her borrow a pen. All right, so people high insurgency are perceived as leader-like. They work hard. They bring about change. They're not too concerned about being well-liked and trying to please everyone. They are stable, but not overly emotional. So next slide.
Well,
Wait,
that
wait,
all
wait, wait,
depends.
can we go over this again?
Just
Wait,
wait.
what?
You'll see. You'll see.
It
Look
depends
at
on
the
what
age.
role
You'll see.
of leadership.
In contrast, if you are low insurgency, you are reserved, you're quiet, you're a loner, you're passive,
What if
you're lacking ability to express strong emotion.
So if you're
Yeah.
smack dab in the middle,
If you're in the middle,
confused.
then I just think you're even keeled.
So I'm perfect.
Oh,
Again, we're
you're-
back at being perfect.
Multi.
Just FYI.
Multifunctional. Okay? All right, so let's move on to the next one. All right, so openness to experience, that was the second one, right?
Yes.
It distinguishes
Wait,
people.
wait,
the
no.
third one.
That's
Oh my
the third
gosh,
one.
she's scared me.
Conscience is second.
Oh, I didn't put these in order, sorry.
Okay.
So where are we now? Oh, we're number 3.
Number 3. Okay.
Openness to experience, okay.
Yeah, I didn't put those in order.
Okay.
My bad. All right, so this distinguishes people who prefer variety from those who have a need for closure and who gain comfort in their association with familiar people and things. So people who consistently seek out different and varied experiences would score high on openness to experience. So these traits include flexibility, intelligence, and remember that internal locus of control I said I was going to talk to you about. So that is an effective internalizer leader that takes responsibility for who they are, for their behavior and their performance, and for the performance of their organizational unit. And I don't know, to me that sounds pretty strong. So can anybody think of a famous leader that maybe encompasses these kinds of traits?
Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King, that's a good one. How about Bill Gates? Maybe.
Maybe
Maybe.
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Definitely.
Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah. So in a little bit, we're going to do a few more of those, and I'm going to toss out some candy for some good answers. Okay. So let's see what's next. Did we talk about the opposite of that one? Probably not. Nope. So we're going to go straight into agreeableness. So the agreeableness scale distinguishes soft-hearted people from the ruthless ones. People who score in the direction of agreeableness tend to be trusting, generous, yielding, acceptant, good-natured. Those who score on the other, well, we'll talk about that in a second. Socialization affects our behavior and performance. So social people have an inclination to seek out enjoyable social relationships. And sensitivity has a part of being sociable. It refers to understanding group members as individuals, what their positions on issues are, and how best to communicate with them. So, if you're high on this, well, we'll test that in a minute. So, next page. So, if you're disagreeable, then you're suspicious, you're stingy, you're unfriendly, you're irritable, and you're critical of other people. So when you get together in your groups and you see that you scored low on disagreeableness, then you might want to ask and see if you need to change some of those numbers. You're being hard on yourself. All right, we're going to take a break for just a second.
Okay.
Into conscientiousness.
Number 2.
This is number 2. All right, so this describes people who are ordered, controlled, organized, ambitious, achievement-focused, and self-disciplined. In general, people who score high with conscientiousness are hardworking, punctual, and persevering. So the let's go ahead and look at the next slide.
Okay.
So basically, if you're low in this, you're disorganized, you're negligent, lazy, aimless, likely to give up when a project becomes difficult. And there's that continuum between being responsible, dependable, honest, and ethical. And so, I mean, it sounds kind of harsh because, I mean, these, personality theorists, they're tough. And so, I know it sounds a lot harsh. Maybe if a woman is.
So when they put these together, they actually put these things so the categories pretty much fit. Like if you're this way, then you're that way, is what they're saying. If this is this, then that is that.
Exactly.
Who knew?
All right, so what do I have next? The last one, adjustment. So this is the lowest one, right?
Emotional stability.
Okay, so this is a very strong personality trait, but it is negatively correlated with leadership because people who score high in it tend to be anxious, temperamental, self-pitying, self-conscious, emotional, and vulnerable to stress-related disorders. Yeah. We're going to get together in groups in a minute, and you can talk about that.
And we'll have those words up there when we do it, because that's just not, that's not working.
So in other words, they call them narcissists. So narcissists are preoccupied with themselves, ignoring the needs of others, and they have a sense of entitlement. They have an exaggerated sense of their own self-importance with expectations of special treatment that is not earned.
Gosh.
We don't know anybody that way, do you?
No.
So
Nobody
familiar
close to home at all.
in this place.
No.
Are you showing these fun faces? Okay, so did I do an opposite of the adjustment?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Let's see if there is one. There is.
Opposites, there it is.
If you scored low, then you're usually calm, even-tempered, self-satisfied, and unemotional.
But we
I
want
mean,
to
if
be
you scored
Man, I
high.
got 3 out of 4 on
Wait,
that
you
one.
mean you scored high? If you scored high, you're calm, right?
Yeah.
No, low scores.
Low scores are better on this one.
Your rules are road. You're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Okay, I'm confused on this one. Sorry.
Per this person that wrote this.
That's
I'm even-tempered until
okay.
I get upset.
So I'm going to read you
I'm
something
unemotional.
real
until-
quick. It's from my Total Leaders book. But after this, we're going to divide up into 2 groups. And y'all can do your little discussion. I want y'all to talk about the highs and the lows. And if one of you are high in an area that another person isn't, but they want to be, give them some advice. If someone else is low in an area that you are high in and they opposite. Did I just say the same thing twice? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Do you get me?
Okay.
Yes.
You feel me?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so real quick. So entrepreneurs, I can never say that word. Entrepreneurs can be effective leaders when they employ just the right amount of assertiveness. Famed Christian leadership author John Maxwell says successful leadership is about 90% people knowledge and 10% product knowledge. So Mr. Maxwell ascertains that knowing your people are more important than knowing what you're selling. So an industrial organizational psychologist is someone that would measure those things. Leadership happens when one group member influences others when working on a common or shared goal. Leadership styles are based on beliefs, values, and preferences. Organizational leadership styles include charismatic, participative, situational, transactional, transformational, quiet, and servant. But a charismatic leader creates followers through charm and grace, much like pastor of a charismatic church. A participative leader involves others in the decision-making process, much like a board of directors-led organization. A situational leader takes a range of situational factors in decision-making, taking the follower in consideration, but not necessarily the truth. A good example of this might be a leader of a cult. So I'm going to give you some other situations, and then I want you to guess who it is, and I'll throw some candy in. Okay. So, oh man, someone already said this one earlier. A transformational leader is a visionary. This CEO of Apple Computers was a great example of an unconventional business leader with a vision whose passion and energy seemed to overpower his dictatorial arrogance. So women are also known to employ a transformational type of leadership. Oh, we won't go into that one. Anybody want to say?
See, John?
Gee, she wanted some candy.
Okay, how about a woman who is known to employ a transformational type of leadership, inspiring others to reach their full potential by setting examples by this person's successful makeup business?
Mary Kay?
Yes, very good. So a quiet and servant leader are much the same, giving credit to others rather than taking it for themselves. They serve others, much like this leader that she was famous for. She might not have even seen herself as a leader, humble as she was, although her actions impacted many nations.
Mother Mary,
for
Mother Teresa,
their
Mother Teresa.
great
Mother
service
Teresa.
in her servitude of others. Very
I thought it
good.
was.
Very good. So, real quick, I'm going to end this
No, at
with,
first it was like Rosa Parks came to my mind, right?
Okay.
see if I got this on the next screen, will you, Mary?
Yeah.
No. That's all right. So, just real quick, I want to say this. And I have copies if anybody wants them. It's really cool. I hang it in my office at home. So the manager maintains, the leader develops. The manager focuses on systems and structure. The leader focuses on people. The manager has a short-range view. The leader has a long-range perspective. The manager asks how and when. The leader asks what and why. The manager has his or her eye always on the bottom line. The leader's eye is on the horizon. The manager imitates, the leader originates. The manager accepts the status quo, the leader challenges it. So, a successful entrepreneur leaves behind a healthy work environment. So, promoting a healthy well-being can promote a healthy bottom line. So, we're going to take a few minutes to, how are we doing on time? To talk. So, if y'all want to do, y'all three here and y'all two here. And so, look at each other's. If you don't mind, do you mind sharing?
I'm sorry. Mine are confidential.
But I want you to learn something from this. I want you to get a takeaway. Find something that you, when we're done with this couple minutes, find something that you can be stronger in. And find maybe a weakness, find a weakness to be stronger in, and find maybe a high that you need to be lower in. Okay? So I'm going to come around and visit y'all.
Lower and number 5.
And I'm going to come around and visit y'all.
Probably everybody, right?
I'm middle of the road on that one.
Friendship,
Yeah,
benefit. the
What are you?
opposite, the
26,
opposite.
what are you?
I don't like it because I scored 35. But at the beginning when I made the math, I made a
Look
mistake
at you,
and I
girl.
got
Agreeableness, 33.
7.428. And then
Yeah, I
I
don't
went
think
back
so.
and I said, no,
23.
it's 35.
25 for me.
And I
So
didn't
what's
really
number one?
like the
Number one
outcome.
is 99.
I think we need all those words up there.
And
That's the
then
change
this
what
one
you
is
see.
much
Yeah.
higher.
I've got middle of the road on that one.
Wow.
And I
You're a
got
little bit
5.
higher.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what makes
That's
you
Well,
awesome.
mine on the
perfect?
conscientious was pretty high.
You have
as
what?
Well,
Oh.
I mean, I didn't go back and change anything.
You only got
on
on
that
that
one. What do you have on
Yeah,
that?
But what's really weird
Okay, number
is that
two, conscientiousness.
even though
I got
it
28.
says all the things it says, I'm
You
very,
did too.
I just,
Well, yeah, 30.
I'm not
Well,
really
yeah,
like
28,
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
weird.
you're
Oh, like you feel that your personality is not really like that.
Yeah.
And number three,
It's
weird.
intellect.
So is it
I got
that
30.
you say what
I
you
got
don't
12,
do, or you
29,
do what you
30,
don't
but-
say?
Yeah, I'm really wondering about that.
No,
one.
I
That had
think
intelligence
I'm
in it.
pretty
I'm thinking, yeah, I don't think
Honest
so.
and say
Oh,
what I
that's
need
good.
to say
The
and do
main
what I need to
verbiage
do.
there.
Yeah, that
you're,
was,
you're
I'm
open.
good with that. Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
good
know.
with that.
That's kind of
I love
awkward.
that, actually.
But that is that your highest score?
Again, back
No.
to 25.
So it's not your highest score.
No, it's this one.
So we're
Okay.
Adjustment.
Oh, holy
I
smokes.
need to do
So,
something about
which is
that.
one of
Somebody
the
needs to help
weakest
me on
ones.
that.
Right.
So that's what you want to be a
That's
little
called
lower
wishy-washy.
on. So how did you score on that?
Ah,
You scored kind of
okay.
high
I
too
hate
on that.
confrontation.
Me
So
too.
I did
Hate
want
it.
to put it on that screen.
I will do
You
it.
guys think? I got
See, I'm,
So
I'm
what is yours?
almost like
Who does?
balanced in
Oh,
between. I don't
23,
have,
Lenny.
the only one that
I'm
I have
35.
low is
23, 25.
number 3, which I have
Yeah,
28.
And number 5 on
But
22.
I'm like balanced, like
Well,
maybe 2
round down,
points
20.
away in
Middle of the road. Again. I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm not
really
there
good.
too.
Besides the number
I'm
4,
just
which I
perfect.
have
That's all there is.
36
You're
and
high.
35 here.
You've managed to find a balance though.
Now, really?
Isn't that
What
amazing?
is
Don't you think?
I
I
think
think that
though.
I'm balanced, I think, but
We
you
need
know,
those
like
words
in my
that were
crazy
up
head.
What do you feel like though that you need to work on?
I didn't like the acts of this, the explanation
no, never mind.
and the conclusion.
That was scary,
That was
wasn't it?
scary.
Yeah.
I really don't.
That was the one
wanna
where I
be like
said,
that,
man,
like
those
a
theories
mom.
can
This
be,
is what I don't
you know,
understand.
They're real harsh.
harsh.
Yeah.
That was
Aren't they?
the one.
Yeah.
So,
Not
so
conducive to
then
the
that would
action,
be
right?
something
Yeah.
Right.
that
So,
you know, you could take away
but,
and work
like,
on.
Yeah.
Right.
Question
The other
for
ones
you.
I'm
Okay.
fine.
What about you, Mary?
Wouldn't
I
you
mean,
really
it's kind of
think
hard to really look
that
at it
if
because
you score
you need a little
high
bit of
on
everything
that
to
would
be
actually be a good trait?
successful, you know?
Yes, I would think.
But
Wouldn't you
I
think
probably
so?
want to say I probably
I
work
scored,
on
I scored
this
myself
one,
a 3 on
the
that.
emotional one.
Because-
I have good.
Probably.
I put 2 on that. I
But-
have good self-control. I don't get
All right.
emotional angry.
So-
I don't. I don't get
that's the
emotional.
part I don't
I put it in
understand.
as, you can't say, I don't ever. So that's why it's not like me, because I don't.
And you're imbalance.
They're
Yeah.
saying it as fact.
and
You
this
don't
one's a little-
ever get
this
yell,
is a
or
little
get angry or
different from
emotional.
others
And I'm like,
I've
no.
seen.
I,
They're all,
I
you
get
know.
angry. I
Yeah,
get
I don't. I
scored
didn't.
that
do
You
that.
try,
I put
you
it at
try to raise
four.
2 boys.
Well, what I don't understand.
See, if you don't,
Yeah.
you know what, I did it.
I should have, because I did get emotional.
And my mom says,
Angry,
"Ponlo
so
en la misma
if you
decisión de
But you
Juana."
can think,
That's
but
it.
you
not
don't, it's not
But-
always.
Shouldn't
It's somewhat like that.
So that's why you
like, for
said, yeah.
example, I have good self-control,
went back
I'm
over.
good emotional, angry, or yell. As a good leader.
I believe so. It is a good
So,
one to have.
but if it's like me, high, and then
I looked
you
at it
added,
wrong. I
and
looked at
then you end up with a higher number here, that's kind of confusing to me.
So you put yourself at 30 instead of 25?
No.
Why would
No.
you round up that high?
Oh,
So I would say you'd be
I rounded up.
25.
okay,
So that's better.
no, but
Already?
despite that, not even considering my
Yeah,
scores right now,
uh-huh.
just the question is that I
Uh-huh.
have good self-control, I don't get emotional, angry, or
Mhm.
yell. So if that is totally like me, which is not, if it's a 7, that is,
Well,
you know, you would think that's good, but
but as a
it will
leader,
raise
would you not? You would want to get fired up about some things as a leader.
being a good
But you don't wanna
leader,
yell
you
at
don't
them.
need to be necessarily yelling or getting angry or
Sure.
self-control. You have to have self-control. You have to have good
Oh, Bruce got
self-control.
mad at me yesterday.
Okay, we won't go there.
He didn't really
How about
yell.
let's get back?
He didn't
So
yell.
tell me, did anybody change any other numbers with your discussions?
Nope.
No. Okay. So you know yourself pretty well. So you ready for a test, huh?
Yep.
So let's review we're going to identify the following traits. And again, I got some candy. So, shout it out if you think you know it. So, number one, or not shout it out, raise your hand. How about that? Raise your hand. Sure. So, it's surgency. Well, you have it in front of you. All of you have it in front of you, right? So, a leader is being very quiet when meeting some unexpected visitors in the work unit. What would that be?
Adjustment.
Very good. Adjustment. All right, number two. A leader is giving in to a follower to avoid conflict.
Agreeableness?
Yes, ma'am. A manager is influencing the follower to do the job the way the leader wants it done. Nice.
We have
Did
a lot
I
of,
do my
we have a lot of that
job?
around here.
influencer lady.
Did I do my job? You are knowing
common
this stuff
denominator in
already.
this
All right. A sales representative submitted the monthly expense report on time as usual.
Conscientiousness.
Who said it first? Very good.
I have my mouth.
Raise your hand. A leader is seeking ideas from
Intellect.
followers on how to speed up the flow of work. What'd you say? Who?
Appearance.
Ah, Norma! Thank you. And finally, as a follower is yelling a complaint, a leader calmly explains what went wrong.
Emotional stability? Adjustment?
Try again.
Conscience.
Yes, agreeable.
Which one was it?
That's pretty good. Y'all
Agreeable.
just, out of all those, y'all just got tripped up on the last one. That's pretty good. Okay. So go to my next screen here. So I want to thank you guys so much for coming out. I hope y'all learned something. Hopefully you will recognize these strengths and weaknesses maybe in your work day or in your interactions with other people, and this little session will come to your mind and remind you if you need to be better in that area or if you need to take it down a little. And so the last page is missing. I want to make sure that we did everything we said we're going to do. We reviewed your personality profile to make a realistic assessment. So did we reach my goal to identify individual stronger and weaker traits?
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Do you have any goals? Does anybody have any goals?
Yes, but I wouldn't share them right now.
Okay, so it's important to have a goal, okay? Have a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, how about a 1-year plan?
Yeah. Break them into smaller pieces.
1-year plan, that's fine, do that. Ultimately, we accept our strengths and weaknesses and we work to improve our behavior. So what are your needs based on achievement, power, and affiliation?
Did I put that up there?
No.
Yes.
Did I?
What are your needs based on the achievement?
second one.
Hey, what do you know? So I challenge you to focus on, so let's look at surgency real quick. That's a need for power. Is that your need? Ooh. Agreeableness, that is a need for affiliation. Is that a goal for you? Adjustment. That motivation is socialized power. Conscientiousness is a need for achievement. I'm pretty sure I scored high on that. Yes, I did. And openness has no separate need. It is included in other needs. So I just challenge you to pick a goal. And I want to end with a joke. It's a pretty sad joke. But because Freud would say jokes reveal the truth buried in your subconsciousness. But this guy, he went to a psychoanalyst. Yeah, my mouth is really dry. For 3 years, he goes to him because he has this fear that there's monsters under his bed. And so he told the guy, look, 3 years, I'm done with you. You haven't fixed me. You know, I'm out of here. And another year goes by, and the psychoanalyst runs into this guy, his former patient, in the street. He's like, Joe, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. He said, how you doing? He said, I'm great. He said, I'm cured. He said, really? What happened? He said, well, I went and saw another therapist, and they cured me just like that. And he said, what kind of therapist was that? He said, it was a behaviorist. And he said, well, what did he do to cure you just like that? He said, he sawed off the legs of my bed.
Oh.
Thank you, guys.